All right, new shirt. If you remember last time, I made some mistakes by not wiping my countertop clean where I had previously mixed some dye. So it showed up on our shirts. Surprise, surprise. So this time made sure to wipe it down. And this is a medium-sized shirt. It has been pre-washed from whatever was in the t-shirt factory, has been washed off, washed it, dried it, and then I've pre-soaked it in soda ash. And so it's ready to go to be tied up and then dyed up. Might just go for a spiral effect on this one. Spirals are relatively easy. Key is you can start your spiral anywhere you want. So if you wanted it over here, obviously most people do dead center, and I think that's what I'm going to do today, kind of like mid-chest area. And in order to do that, I'm actually just going to have a straight edge here. I'll just measure across. It's 20 inches across the chest, right in the armpit area. So if we know that's 20 inches, we're just going to put a dot. This is a Crayola ultra clean washable marker. And that will be our starting spot for our spiral. We can do that with the shirt clean centered like this, and we'll do both sides at the same time. So both sides will end up with a beautiful spiral in the end. And the easiest way that you can do this is just put your finger on there and start twisting. As we go, you will notice that pleats start to form, spirals start to form out of where we're twisting. The cleaner that you get those, the cleaner your spiral is going to look in the end. So I'm going to just put some pressure down on my finger. We're going to just start slowly moving the shirt around my finger until we start to get some nice pleats. So I'm just using my other fingers here to kind of like form these pleats, to get them to a size that I want. I don't want them to be too big. I don't want them to be too small. I like them to be about 1 centimeter, half an inch deep as we go. If they start getting too big, you can break them up. This one doesn't have to be as perfect as some other designs, but you do kind of want to pay attention to what you're doing. Take at least a couple minutes to get your design right. Now you can see right in here, I've got some really nice pleats, and I want those to carry all the way down the shirt. So you can start to carry them a little bit on your own. Tug them if you need to, they'll stand up. And we're gonna start to bunch these. Get them all the way around. New pleats will form too, so that's good. We want them all. More the merrier in this design. Right down into the sleeve, which will look pretty cool. Up into the collar as well. All right. Not perfect, but it will probably do. I'm going to watch some tutorials. I'll learn a little bit more about how to make some really nice spirals. This will likely do the trick. I don't know if you can see it down in the middle, but still have that the dot that we started with. So we do know that the center is in the center. great. Now, I'm worried that these elastics here that I have are kind of small. They might start to be too tight. I'm gonna start with some larger elastics. We've got some larger, softer elastics here because I just want to start relatively loose on here. It gives us a little bit more opportunity to fix anything, see anything. I'm gonna actually pull up some of these center sections with some tweezers just a bit. Before they get lost in the middle. Just flip it over gently. We'll see how we're looking in the back. Pretty good here too. You can see the spiral shape kind of carried through, which is great. And then we'll just continue putting elastics on it. So as long as we can see where our center is, the key with these designs is if you come outwards from the center as it's all spiraled up, that will result in a spiral on your shirt once it's all unfolded. Okay, I'm gonna move to the smaller elastics here just to see how tight we get. We don't want too tight because we want the dye to soak in, set in there, but we don't want it too loose. So we'll just keep on going. Make sure everything's held together nicely. This shirt, as I mentioned before, was soaked in soda ash and is damp right now. It's still damp. Not dry, but not soaking, which is probably the key for most liquid dyes, because you want them to go straight down most of the time, unless you want them to spread. If you want them to spread, then go on a little bit on the wetter side. If you want them to stay clean and true to their separate colors, then you want a spin cycle or something to hold your shirt. So that's looking pretty good. Spirals are a little bit random, a little bit chaotic. We can add some colors and interesting patterns, and we'll see how that goes. That one's ready for dyeing. I'm gonna, just because I'm doing a few shirts today, I'm gonna toss this in a Ziploc bag and then save it for later. All right, we have our spiral design here. We have a little bit of dye left, mainly purple. So this is gonna be a mainly purple shirt, and the center, which is hard to see now, is somewhere in there, all wrapped up, and it will spiral out from there. So I think the center is about there, even though it's not where the elastics are. So I'm going to start with the colors that we have least of, which is blue, this actually turquoise, and green. So I'd like some streaks of this to come through. Otherwise, it's going to be purple and white, which is fine. The other thing we could do, now that I think of it, is actually mix up a black. And that might be cool. So we're just thinking on our toes here. So what I'd like to do maybe is I'll set out the design on the front side using these three colors. And then we will flip it over and we will douse the back with black. And that should make for a pretty cool design. So let's get started. We've got the Jacquard Procion MX reactive dyes. And okay, well, that just showed me where I was going to go with this. So I'm going to just try to get the blue radiating out from the middle here, and maybe other side as well. And that's all she wrote. So I'm out of blue, out of turquoise. Just fine. We'll fill that in with some other colors. I'd like to border that with green since there'll be some contrast there. So I'm going to use a little bit of this green. And this is bright green, also Procion MX by Jacquard. And I'd like to just get this around the blue as best as I can without mixing completely with the blue. I'd like some of the blue to still show up. Obviously some of this green would be nice too. And then we are going to contrast this all with some purple and then some black. All right, that was the bottom of the bottle for my bright green. Let's get some purple in here. Purple has been looking really nice, at least as it reacts with the shirt. And we've got a lot of it. The other thing we could do is, without mixing up the black, we could just try to use the rest of this and see how it goes. We'll see how much is coming through on the other side. I have a feeling we'll still need to mix up a few ounces of the black. Yeah, let's flip it and see. So we can cover this with all black, or I have, how much? I have 1 ounce of this marine violet. See how far that gets us. Might do it. There's going to be some white on this shirt. No, we didn't do it. All right. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with some black. I just made a quick batch of, this is the same Jacquard Procion MX, but this is jet black. So all these white spots, I don't want too much white on this shirt. So I think if we fill it in with black, it'll actually have a black spiral included as well from the reverse side. So what I'm going to do is just douse this whole back now. I know we started with the violet. I just want to make sure everything's covered here. And then hopefully we still have some blue and green and violet showing through. But for now, this should be pretty cool. I just mixed up 4 ounces of this. So I used 1 teaspoon of the powder dye, 4 ounces of distilled water, because my water is pretty hard. I thought that might be better. And that was it. So we're covering the back with black. And if I flip to the front, we have some blue, little tiny bit of blue, major green, some purple, all in there as well. So I'm going to bag this up, save it for 24 hours. This is going to be our spiral design, and stay tuned for the unveiling.